Good morning, everyone. Let us start. Today we shall learn the first chapter, Resources and Development. Now I shall share my screen. So this is the first chapter, Resources and Development. So here this small paragraph tells the meaning of resources. So let us read. Everything available in our environment which can be used to satisfy our needs, provided it is technologically accessible, economically feasible, and culturally acceptable, can be termed as a resource. So this is the meaning of the term resource. So in short, resource is any substance which satisfies human wants. Okay, as mentioned here, everything available in our environment which can be used to satisfy our needs, provided it is technologically accessible. So it means that to use the resources we need technology, and economically feasible. That means the quantity and the quality must be large enough. The quantity must be large enough and the quality must be good, and culturally acceptable. That means we must have the demand for that particular resource. Okay, so these are the three important factors affecting resources: technology, then the feasibility, and this demand. Okay, remember, any substance which satisfy human wants is known as a resource. And this figure number 1.1 shows the relationship between nature, technology, and institutions. Okay, so let us proceed. The process of transformation of things available in our environment involves an interactive relationship between nature, technology, and institutions, as described in the diagram. Okay, as described here. The process of transformation of things means manufacturing process. Okay, transformation of things here refers to manufacturing. The process of transformation of things available in our environment involves an interactive relationship between nature, technology, institution. As I told you, to utilize the resources we need technology. Okay, and we need institutions. So human beings interact with nature through technology and create institutions to accelerate their economic development. So this is the interpretation of this diagram. Okay, as shown in your textbook. Okay, so to utilize these resources given by the nature, we need technology and we need institutions. Institutions here mainly refer to industries. Okay, so for the economic development of a country, we need to utilize resources using technology and industries. Any question, boys and girls, from your side?
No, sir.
Okay, then let us proceed. Uh, Here, one important statement is here: resources are a function of human activities. What does it mean? Resources are a function of human activities. So it implies that, okay, any substance can become a resource only when it is utilized by the human beings. Say, for example, to a prehistoric man, coal was not a resource because they did not know how to use the coal, and they did not have the technology how to use the coal, and that is why to the prehistoric man, coal was not a resource. But now coal is a resource to us because we know how to use it. Okay, so that is the meaning of this statement: resources are a function of human activities. Human beings themselves are essential components of the resources. That means we are also a part of the resources. We call it human resources. Human beings are also resources, and human beings transform raw materials available in our environment into resources, and they use them. So we manufacture the resources available, okay, in our environment using technology, and they use it. And next we have a classification of resources. Resources can be classified in the following ways. So here we have four bases. Okay, four bases for the classification of resources. The first one is on the basis of origin. We have two types, biotic and abiotic. Then on the basis of accessibility, we have two types, renewable and non-renewable. On the basis of ownership, we have four types, individual, community, and national and international. And on the basis of status of development, we have again four types, potential, developed, stock, and reserves. Okay, and again this figure number 1.2 shows the different types of resources. Okay, as shown here. Here resources are divided into two main types. Okay, two main types. We have these natural resources, and another one is the human resources. So there are two main types of resources, natural resources and human resources. And natural resources are further divided into renewable and non-renewable. Okay, and renewable resources are further subdivided into continuous or flow, for example wind, water. Then another type is biological. Biological resources are further divided into natural vegetation and wildlife. Okay, and non-renewable resources are further subdivided into recyclable resources, for example metals, okay, iron, copper, lead. Then another one is non-recyclable, fossil fuels, for example petroleum, natural gas, then coal. So these are examples of the non-recyclable resources. So these are the different types of natural resources, and the human resources are again divided into structures and institutions, and quantity and quality. Okay, so these are the different types, and the definition will be discussed here. Okay, types of resources. Here we shall discuss about the different types in detail with examples. So on the basis of origin, as we have read out earlier, we have two important types: biotic resources and abiotic resources. And as you know, biotic resources are obtained from biosphere, okay, from the life sphere, and have life, such as human beings, flora, fauna, fishes, then livestock. Okay, so biotic resources derive from these living beings, living organisms. That means have life forms, and including these human beings. And examples as we examples of biotic resources, we have human beings, flora, fauna, fishes, and livestock. Next, we have abiotic resources. All those things which are composed of non-living things, okay, abiotic, are called abiotic resources. Example, we have rocks, okay, different types of rocks, and these metals, that is minerals. These are examples of abiotic. Next, we have on the basis of exhaustibility, we have again two types. The first one is renewable resources. What are renewable resources? The resources which can be renewed or reproduced by physical, chemical, or mechanical processes are known as renewable or replenishable resources. Okay, so renewable resources are those resources which can be reproduced or which can be replenished. Okay, for example, we have this solar, that is sunshine, then wind, water, okay, then forest and wildlife. So these are some examples of renewable resources. Say water, for example, it is renewable through the hydrological cycle, okay, and the renewable resources may further be divided into continuous and flow, as we have shown in figure number 1.2. Another type is non-renewable resources. These occur over a very long geological time. That means non-renewable resources take a long time, okay, to form, more than these million years. Okay, mineral and fossil fuels are examples of such resources. All the types of minerals and fossil fuels are examples of non-renewable resources, and these resources is mentioned earlier take millions of years in their formation. Okay, and some resources are like metals are recyclable, and some like fossil fuels cannot be recycled and get exhausted with their use. Metals like iron, copper, aluminum can be recycled for some years, but after recycling also will be diminished. Okay. However, this petroleum, then natural gas, coal, this cannot be recycled. Okay, once used, then totally exhausted. Next, we have this on the basis of ownership. On the basis of ownership, we have these four types of resources. The first one is individual resources. So these are the resources owned privately by individuals. Individual resources are those resources which are owned privately by individuals. For example, farmers, okay, farmers own land which is allotted to them by government against the payment of revenue. So we are owning a land, okay, which is allotted by government against the payment of revenue. So we are owning land, and in return we are paying taxes to the government. So my plot of land is an example of individual resource. Okay, then in villages there are people with land ownership, but there are many who are landless. So urban people own plots, then houses and other property. All these are examples of individual resources. Okay, say individual plantations, then pasture land, that is grazing lands, then ponds, water in the wells are some examples of the resources owned by the individuals. Okay, remember, resources owned privately by individuals are known as individual resources. For example, this agricultural field, okay, then private ponds, then private wells, then private farms, plantations. All these are examples of individual resources. Next, we have community owned resources. Okay, sometimes it is also known as common property resources. And community owned resources are the resources which are accessible to all members of the community. So these are the resources which can be utilized by all the members of the community, all the members of the village. That means nobody owns the resource. It is owned collectively by the community. Okay, and everybody can use it. Everybody in the village, everybody in the community can use it. For example, village commons like grazing grounds. Okay, village grazing grounds, then village burial grounds. Okay, then village ponds, village wells, then public parks, picnic spots, then playgrounds in the urban areas, okay, are de facto accessible to all people living there, and hence these are examples of these community resources. Okay, community owned resources. Are you clear? Any question, boys and girls?
No, sir.
Okay, let us proceed. Then the third type of resource based on ownership is the national resources. Technically, all the resources belong to the nation. My plot of land, then my well, then my pond, all these belong to the nation. Okay, as we mentioned earlier, I'm owning a land against the payment of revenue, that is taxes. The country has legal powers to acquire even private property for public goods. Okay, say for example, here this is your agricultural field, and for the development of the country, the government wants to construct a road, a highway, which has to be past your agricultural field. Okay, then the government has the right to acquire, okay, your plot of land, your plot of this agricultural field. That is the point mentioned here. See here, the country has legal powers to acquire even private property for public goods. So for the development of the country, the government can acquire your private property. That means technically your piece of land belongs to the nation. Okay, and urban development authorities get empowered by the government to acquire land. And see about the examples of the national resources, all the minerals, water resources like rivers, okay, then lakes, forests, wildlife, land within the political boundaries, and the oceanic area up to 12 nautical miles from the coast, termed as territorial water and resources therein belong to the nation. So these are the examples of national resources. All the minerals, okay, occurred within the country. All the water bodies like rivers, lakes, forests, wildlife, then land within the political boundaries, then oceanic area up to 12 nautical miles, that is 22.2 kilometers from the coastline. Remember, 1 nautical mile is equal to 1.8 kilometer. Okay, so these are examples of the national resources. And the fourth type of resources based on ownership is the international resources. And there are international institutions which regulate some resources. Okay, they are institutions. For example, the United Nations organization, okay, is an international institution to regulate the use of resources. Okay, and the oceanic resources beyond 200 nautical miles of the exclusive economic zone belongs to open ocean, and no individual country can utilize these without the concurrence, means agreement of the international institution, for example United Nations organization. Okay, see, exclusive economic zone. Okay, so here is this, what do you mean by exclusive economic zone? So as prescribed by the 1982 United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, okay, exclusive economic zone is an area of the sea in which a sovereign state, an independent state, has special rights regarding the exploration and the use of marine resources, including wind production, energy production from water and the wind. So exclusive economic zone is an area in the sea, okay, which a sovereign country, which a sovereign state has special rights to use the resources occurred within the area. Okay, they can explore, the sovereign state can explore and use the marine resources, the resources found in the ocean, including energy production from the wind and from the sea waves and ocean currents. Okay, and beyond this, beyond the exclusive economic zone, no country, no individual country can utilize the resources without concurrence, without agreements, without permission from the international institutions like United Nations organization. Okay, let us see one diagram here. Let's see here this section. So this is the baseline. Okay, this is the baseline, coastline, and from here up to 12 nautical mile is known as territorial waters. Okay, we own it. These are known as territorial waters. Then from this boundary, from the boundary of territorial waters up to 24 nautical miles, we call it contiguous zone. And from this boundary, from the boundary of the territorial sea up to 200 nautical miles, we call it exclusive economic zone. And in this zone, the country can explore anything. The country can utilize whatever found here. Maybe here some resources may be found here, manganese nodules, or this natural gas or petroleum may be here. Okay, all these resources can be utilized, and energy can be derived, can be harnessed from the sea waves and from the wind also within this exclusive economic zone. But beyond this, here, beyond the exclusive economic zone, no individual country can utilize the resources without prior permission from the United Nations organization. Okay, are you clear about this exclusive economic zone? See, one information is also given here. India has got the right to mine manganese nodules from the bed of the Indian Ocean from that area which lies beyond the exclusive economic zone. Now India has got the permission, has got the right to exploit manganese nodules from the bed of the Indian Ocean, which is occurring beyond the exclusive economic zones. Remember, if a country wants to exploit it, the country needs permission, okay, agreement. From the international institutions like United Nations organization. Next, we have this basis, that is on the basis of the status of development. Again, we have 4 types of resources. The first one is potential resources. Resources which are found in a region but have not been utilized. Okay, what are potential resources? Resources which are found in a region but have not been utilized. Found in a region but not utilized. Okay, for example, western part of India, particularly Rajasthan and Gujarat, have enormous potential for the development of wind and solar energy, but so far these have not been developed properly. As I see here, western part of India, here in this area, this Gujarat and Rajasthan. Okay, so in these stats, here in this area, wind energy, okay, wind energy and this solar energy can be harnessed, okay, in this area, but utilization is not started, and hence in these regions these wind and the solar energy are examples of potential resources, because in this area these so far have not been harnessed properly. Next, we have developed resources. Resources are surveyed, which are surveyed, and their quality and quantity have been determined for utilization. So developed resources, these are the resources which are surveyed and their quality and the quantity have known. Okay, and the development of resources depend on the technology and the level of feasibility. Level of feasibility means the quantity and where it is located and what type of technology to be used. So for example, here here in the underground we have a seam of coal. So this is a seam of coal, and so using sounding machines these geologists have identified so what is the type of coal found here. Say for example anthracite, they have known the quality, and what is the total quantity found here. So let us say it is about 2000 metric ton. Okay, that means in this case the geologists have identified the quality as well as the quantity of this particular resource, but the utilization is not started, and so that is what we call developed resources. Resources which are surveyed, okay, which are explored, surveyed, and their quality and the quantity have been determined for utilization. Next, we have this stock, the third type of resources based on the status of development. Minerals in the environment which have the potential to satisfy human needs, but human beings do not have the appropriate technology to use these, are called stock. Let me repeat, minerals in the environment which have the potential to satisfy needs. Okay, materials, not minerals, sorry. Materials in the environment which have the potential to satisfy human needs. But human beings do not have the appropriate technology to access this, means to utilize this, to exploit this, are coal stock. Say for example, water is a compound of two gases, hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen can be used as a rich source of energy, but we do not have advanced technical know-how to use it for this purpose, and hence it can be considered as a stock. Okay, so this is an example of this stock. Remember, the material which is found in the environment and which can satisfy human wants, but human beings do not have the appropriate technology to utilize it, is known as stock. And the last type of resource is reserves. So reserves are subset of the stock. Reserves are part of the stock which can be put into use with the help of existing technical know-how. Okay, reserves are part of the stock which can be utilized with the help of the existing technology. Okay, but their use has not been started, and this can be used for meeting future requirement, means reserving for the future, keeping for the future. Okay, this can be used for meeting future requirements. River water can be used for generating hydropower, but presently it is being utilized only to a limited extent. Thus, water in the dams, then forest, is a reserve, okay, which can be used in the future. Water in the dams, then forest, these are examples of reserves, because they can be used in the future also. Okay, so what is the main difference between reserve and stock? Can you tell me? What is the main difference between reserve and stock, boys and girls? In the case of stock, okay, these are materials which can satisfy human needs, but human beings do not have the technology to use it. In the case of reserve, these are the materials which can be used using the existing technology, okay, but their use has not been started. Remember, in both the cases, the utilization has not been started. In the case of stock also, the utilization has not been started due to lack of technology. In the case of reserve, utilization is not started, okay, keeping for the future. However, the country can use it. The country can use it using the existing technology, but the utilization has not been started because they are keeping for the future. They are keeping this material to meet the future requirements. Okay, so these are the differences between reserves and stock. For the reserve, the country do not have appropriate technology, and for the for the reserve, okay, the country can use it using the existing technology, but the utilization is not started, keeping for the future requirements. So any question from your side, boys and girls?
No, sir.
Okay, then let us stop here for today. Thank you very much for joining my class. Don't forget to send your names in
Thank
the
you,
WhatsApp
sir.
group.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you, sir.
you, sure.